number 16. Roll call, please.
Bordeaux. Hale.
Here.
Altman. Here. Kessler. Here. Condella. Here. Walker. Yaffe.
Here. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we open the floor for any comments from the public on our agenda items. Do we have any comments this evening? Having no comments, I will move on to the superintendent for presentations.
Today we have our facilities update, and our construction partners will be presenting the majority of the information, and then Mr. Rogers and myself will be sharing some information throughout the presentation. So I'd like to invite and Trish and Katie from Pepper Construction and Dave Johnson, our architect firm. So welcome to our construction partners. Come on up.
Where would you like us to stand? At the podium?
Wherever you're comfortable. One is the podium, welcome to you.
This is for microphone, yes, I hear it now. Okay.
You can move, that's what I did last time. If you want to grab it, there you go.
Not that. I'll go over by the monitor here. One last question, where do I need to point this?
Just doesn't matter.
Okay. Awesome. All right, again, my name is Dave Gasson, White Company. We're the architectural firm for the upcoming work. Lisa Kane, Pepper Construction, and Lance Rich. I'll hand the presentation off to them a little later on, but first I'd like to quickly go through an update. It's been a little while since we've talked to you. Just want to keep you posted on what we're doing right now and what's going to be happening coming up. So currently we're conducting weekly design meetings. This is an important process of trying to make sure that we continue to refine our design, meeting the goals of the district, making sure that contain costs on that, being judicious about what projects we're proceeding with and what dollars are going to be expended for those projects. Part of that includes gathering stakeholder input. Now specifically, this is building users, end users, staff that will be affected by the new or revised spaces in the building. This is important to make sure that we are meeting functional needs for those spaces that will be changing. It's also important so that those people who get into those new revised spaces have some early buy-in to those and start to understand what those changes are so they can make those projects successful on day one into those new spaces. Updating budgets and schedule, very important. This is a big part of Pepper's responsibility at this point. We provided them with some preliminary information at this stage to test the costs on some of these items and making sure that we are staying within the allotted budget on the project. And that will continue to happen and get more and more specific as we reach finish line for design. As part of that, we are prioritizing the projects. There is a fixed budget on this project. There is a fixed amount of money that we need to target. So this process involves us identifying those projects that can fit within that budget, and those that cannot then want to be earmarked for future work as part of a 5-year plan once this major construction project is complete next year. Kind of a unique piece that we are currently in the process of is the traffic study over at Diamond Lake School. This will be an important step for us to understand site changes at Diamond Lake School, and that will ultimately inform us as far as what potential improvements we need to make to the site to accommodate the change. All right, specific projects right now that we're looking at Diamond Lake School include renovations to the library and Young Innovation Center. So this is taking the existing library, and I'd like to say we're trying to activate that space, make it something that people want to go use, promote collaboration, turn it into something that adds a level of energy to the building that currently perhaps does not exist. As with this school, we will be doing a corridor refresh. So same type of scope with flooring, painting walls. And again, just trying to bring those up to speed a little bit. Similar to that is the lunchroom spaces. Again, it's been a while since they've had a refresh. So for those spaces we're talking about, again, just doing finishes, updating that space, seeing the lighting, things like that. Similar actually to what's happening in this gymnasium. Again, just try to give it a good refresh. Air conditioning. So a portion of Diamond Lake School is currently air conditioned. The plan is to complete that project in a similar manner. It will involve taking those units that were installed over in Fairhaven, relocating them at Diamond Lake, and then whatever additional spaces in that with that those units will be supplemented with additional units to match that system. Lastly on the list is parking lot and playground improvements. Again, the amount of site improvements will be informed by the results of the traffic study that's being developed right now. But for sure, there will be a playground redevelopment as part of that. So it'll be a big change for that school. At West Oak, similar set of projects, some unique ones here. Again, in the libraries / innovation center. Again, the goal here, and especially at this school, is to make that a hub of the building, but also take into consideration the fact that there will be different grade levels that will be using that perhaps we're not in the same building before. So we have to roll all those things up into one comprehensive design that meets all those needs. Just like Diamond Lake, the lunchroom will get a refresh, get finishes, lighting. One of the unique aspects at this building is the district and school office reorganization. These aren't major projects, but they are important because of the consolidation of these two schools in one facility. So there is some work that has to happen to the front offices to accommodate the staffing requirements for both buildings occupying the same facility. There are teaching, learning, and workspace improvements. These primarily impact what I refer to as the support spaces in the building. Social worker, speech therapists, things like that. Many of these spaces right now, because of the excess space we have in this building, are located in quite large classrooms when they're only dealing with a small group of kids. So as part of this process, we're trying to provide them with right-sized spaces for the number of kids they have, return those classrooms to their original intended purpose so that we can accommodate the change in function of the building. Mechanical improvements, so this is the kind of project that you spend a lot of money on and maybe don't actually see any difference in the visual appearance of the building. But there are some important upgrades with equipment, particularly for the original portion of this building, usually air handling units, rooftop units in this case, that need to be replaced, and some supplemental work associated with that we have in this building. And then finally, again, in this building, parking lot and playground improvements. Again, the parking lot work will be somewhat limited in this building to accommodate, again, the change in operation. But again, for sure, new playground equipment at this facility.
All right, I was just going to touch. Is this working? I was going to touch on just a couple of the options as far as Fairhaven and what its status is. So currently, the first option is to retain Fairhaven in its current form, and in a sense, kind of mothball the facility. The $50,000 a year is just an estimate that just includes operating costs. So that's any electrical work that's still electrical is going to power the building, some lawn care, things like that. Does not include if anything goes wrong in the building in its current form. Next option was put together, by Pepper and White as far as demoing the building. So the $400,000 includes the asbestos abatement that needs to take place and really tear down the building. Lease is still on the table. We've received some interest. I'm going to do a facility tour this week with an organization, and we've kind of been reached out to by a couple different people. We really want to find a partner that would fit our needs, meaning we don't want to be responsible for mechanical problems, fixes like that are going to require capital investment. And then the last is we recently just received an appraisal back on the property from an independent consultant. And so the total property, including the building, is appraised at $2.1 million. The Land itself is about 1.1 million. The building itself is about $1 million. So we got a nice write-up on that one. I'll be happy to share. But that's the appraisal in its current form, and from there we could take that on to different property developers, go out to bid, things like that. So there's a whole process that would involve selling the property, but at least we have for appraisal for it.
We generally building with the land, and we're not able to attract it to buyers.
Without talking to developers independently, I would say it's not going to raise the value substantially, because based on, and the appraisal touches on this, half the property is on a floodway, half the property is on a floodplain. Each one has, in an order of magnitude, affects building capacity on that space. So I'm thinking if you do tear it down, it's not going to increase the value by that much, because I'm not entirely sure what you could build in that existing place. It's a good question though.
Reason that is worth 2.1 million is a building that needs a lot of investment. How much confidence do you have in the appraisal?
They put together a 63-page report that includes what's in the building. They took pictures of every single space and looked at similar sales. Some of the properties, they said that this building sold for $800,000, but your facility is in better shape. So they've adjusted it based on recent sales. So it's really, I think it's going to be a crapshoot as far as what we do if we were able to sell it, what it would sell for. But there was a lot of analysis that went behind the value of the property. I'd be more comfortable with the value of the land than the building itself. But it is still a good facility outside of any of the mechanical improvements or roofing improvements that need to be done to it. So that's kind of how they appraised it. It's the masonry work put into it. Have those walls still standing.
It's only worth as much as
Someone's willing to pay.
But when would you expect to come with us to us?
I think that once we start the process, if we chose to go down that road of putting the property out for bid, I'd have to check if we actually had to move forward with that, or if we're able to just solicit individual buyers. So the process, I've worked with a couple of developers on step A through Z and how you sell the property. This is the first major step, is to get an independent appraisal. They would do the same thing. And I believe the process is to go out to bid for it. To be honest with you, I'd have to really work closely with our construction partners and our attorney as far as, are we able to get independent bids on this, or if we go out to, bid it, sell it at that point. So I think, I have to get some more information as far as what we would do to actually sell the property, but I think it would be like more of a board directive that move forward. Let's work on actually selling this. And, let's see what kind of bids we get back on the property.
It seems to me that the lease value is limited only because at some point we would have to put capital investment into it to have it used for all the reasons we're not investing now. So, does anyone have any thoughts that of a reason we would do anything other than trying to sell it?
I would agree with you. The business of the district is not to be a property management. So, yes, I think a long-term lease, unless we have some thoughts that we could reuse the building sometime in the future. I haven't heard anything like that.
Well, I will tell you that, people are kind of coming out of the woodworks to inquire about the facility. CEDAW came to me 2 days ago came to me yesterday about the status of Fairhaven and possibly renting it on a long-term agreement. So it just depends on, current need, who needs a space that big. So, the other organization that approached me was a church. I've been approached by kind of some Montessori type schools, so they're going to do some walkthroughs. So there's been nothing concrete. So I would say the value of holding on the property would be mostly so we could still solicit other leases. So.
Eric, what do you think? Like, the last time I think we discussed this, it seemed like using or selling not necessarily realistic, like there wasn't very much interest. So from what you're saying, it sounds like maybe that's changed.
It's changed since the last time we spoke. For the Lake County Regional Office, they had the Safe Schools. They approached us about renting our facility, but we don't want to be a property manager. That's exactly right. They wanted us to be responsible for all the maintenance, technology, things like that. We're not in that business. We don't want to be in that business for somebody else. So this is, any conversations I have going forward are all, if you rent the facility, it is yours, and we are not going to be putting any sort of capital investments in this. There would be a long road, to go with finalizing that. But I think if we, for instance, partnered with the CEDAW, if we get some sort of intergovernmental agreement, they're responsible for all the maintenance and repairs of the building. They have it for X amount of year lease. We get X amount of rental fees in it. That would be the best case scenario for rental. Yeah.
Right. We already do business with them.
Yeah, and the benefit of a long-term lease from them, if they're going to put capital investment in it, they want to make sure they have a longer-term lease. And I think CEDAW has always been a great partner to us. That's kind of why it was a nice development, but we haven't had any motion in rentals for 4 or 5 months at that point. So it's kind of had 2 come in the last couple weeks. Other than that, it's been a little bit of a search game to find people.
Are we actively putting it on the market for rental or sale, or are we being passive about it?
We're making it known to people that it is available, and it's a lot of times it's area business managers, superintendents that are kind of reaching out and saying, hey, we have definitive need for the next year or 2. What do you have available? It's kind of through the grapevine. I wouldn't say I'm actively seeking out people to rent this facility. I'm calling the village. I'm calling the regional office. Kind of making it known through their channels that it is available. So I'd say it's active to an extent, but it's to our local units of government. So the next step would be, if we are going to seek, like for instance, the company that's working with this Montessori school is a property development firm. They're seeking out spaces for this company to rent. So that's a nice next step too, that I could reach out to these types of individuals. They're almost headhunters for facilities. They can look for renters and solicit it that way. So I think the next time I come back to a board meeting, I'll have some information on whether it's worthwhile to work with an individual like that. They're doing the same work for us. I'm sure there's some sort of headhunting fee to do this type of stuff, but they have a lot bigger channels.
It might be nice to just have a little one page that kind of talks about the process of who you've been in contact with, who else you're going to get in contact with. There's a window in which you could formally be.
Sure, and then what the process is to sell the facility as well. I'll get you that information.
Good. There's a note on here that briefly talks about though when they're looking for information on Fairhaven, but we just want to throw some dates out there. As with the previous projects, if you remember bid openings and when we presented the bid award information to the board. So right now we're looking to bring a presentation to the board of the final design in November. Then we're looking to bid in December with board approval at the January board meeting. So that's kind of the timeline of we're going to finish design, we're going to present that finished design, we're going to bid it, we're going to present those bids for board at the board meeting in January. And then I think we just spoke a lot about Fairhaven, but the superintendent and Eric both are looking to make some direction in that in January once the bid process and all that is complete. And then once we get through that bid process, we're going to reevaluate the 5-year plan. We've been talking about it this entire time, so we have a running list. Once we know which projects we will be able to get completed this year, because there's going to be some alternate bid information stuff that is part of the bid. Once all that's been awarded and determined, then we can put some final thoughts to the 5-year plan.
I think you nailed it.
Question.
Yep.
Seems to me that we haven't had a choice of points where we might invest in free technology or more advanced technology or solar panel, whatever. Were those things that were beyond what our investment could be, or do we have some of those things that we did include, or is that something?
Do you mind if I take that as well? So I did meet with District 75 to find some other options as far as solar. So as far as having, these guys have a lot of different options with solar as well, but there's a new option kind of on the table, I think, maybe worth exploring this in the future as far as putting solar panels on your roof. Whereas you're not investing in it initially, in a sense, you're renting it from this company, and it's not going to cost us anything. They pay for the investment, and then we pay for smaller wattage to use electricity. They get some of the rebates, the SRAC rebates. It's kind of the new DCEO type rebates, if I'm referencing that right. But they get the rebates to install it, and they get some money usage that we have, but it doesn't cost us anything to put it on our roofs. So it's another option that we could explore as well, besides the large capital investment with solar on.
Does it cost us anything? We pay for it with our savings, it doesn't.
It would not cost us anything, but we basically pay a lower cost per watt to use it. So it's not getting the 100% benefit of not paying anything. And once you got the solar panels up and running and it was powering the entire school, you're paying a much, much less percentage. And so they could evaluate the savings over a 15 or 20 year period of having solar panels on our roof. But from what I understand, we have one new roof at Diamond Lake. This roof here is in need of a lot of repair, so they'll only invest in roofs that have longevity. So it's an analysis they would do as far as whether they would put it on one building versus the other. So there's a couple options though.
But it sounds like it's outside of our measurement of the relationship we have with the
Correct. Yeah, we have not had these discussions as far as the referendum scope. This is kind of an outside approach to getting solar.
Thoughts about Horizon? Are we missing opportunities?
No, I really don't think you're missing any opportunities on the projects we're talking about right now. Most of those opportunities are energy related. There's only a handful of things that we're touching right now that would be impacted by that, and those that we are very limited in their ability to capture some of that. So I mentioned like air handling units at this building. There's not really any way to capture that as part of this project. The lighting that we do as part of this project absolutely would be part of that. That's really the standard now.
There's a lot of
things special about it.
There's a lot of the materials you use anymore are sustainable. Paints are all low VOC paints, so a lot of school districts are not necessarily going for LEED certification anymore because the design is kind of caught up to it. The design industry is caught up to it, and it's pretty much standard now.
A lot of it recycled materials, since they're required on
Right.
so many projects, it's
Right.
something that you can get the data on, but so many of the flooring products are recycled, have a 30% recycled product in them, or they have things like that, so.
All the demolition, material that went out of here
Everything gets
was
recycled.
probably, 75% of it was recycled. So, it's just, we're already doing it, so it's kind of inherent in what we've done already. So we're not necessarily searching out new things. It's just it's already being done, and it'll be more of it next summer as well.
Yeah, and I think the way to put that is anything we can do, we are doing, and what we're talking about is really special things beyond that, like solar panels and things like that. That would be part of a normal construction project. Anything that we touch, we'll pepper in our advocates for sustainability. And so on some level, we're not really thinking about those things as especially things that we want a project to be on every project. So, but any of those items that are special features that right now are not from our scope, is something the district would be looking at it.
Well, everything you just listed that we have done is going to be standard now in the district for schools anyway. That's fascinating, and I think awesome for us to publish in our public.
I was just gonna say.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
We can put together
We
some
should have some
information
sort
for
of
you.
flyer.
Yeah. We can do that for you for sure.
Yeah, the students will be.
People don't get them, especially the amount of garbage that everyone thinks that's all getting thrown away. The bulk, most of the reports we get at the end of these projects are, 70 to 80% of that material is recycled nowadays.
Geothermal, stuff like that stuff's so expensive.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can for sure put together a little, note sheet or whatever of
Sort
some of the.
Yeah, fly sheet
Yeah.
or something that highlights a lot of the,
We forget because we know it, that the community and the board members aren't used to that information, so, sure. Awesome. Good. Thank you.
One is, schedule.
Yep.
So in January, we plans for the project. One of the things process of it. But board is not ready for this reflection on doing something. Table it, close it, something like that. But I just think we need to, this is what we're doing. Table it or close it, I'll share whatever, just so we have planning budget season before. Sometimes I wasn't taking for a while, so I just wanted to draw your attention to that. And again, taking some plans, any specifically, so I want to share that with you before. So, just want to thank you guys for your time.
Great.
Thanks. Good night.
These next items are part of our business agenda. Most of them are for action and have been discussed at a prior meeting and will be discussed this evening. First up is the omnibus vote agenda. Items under the omnibus vote agenda are considered routine and are not controversial and will be approved by one motion. If anyone, board member, staff, administrator, or citizen wishes to have a separate vote on any items, that item or items will be pulled from the omnibus vote agenda and voted on separately. Be it resolved that the Diamond Lake 76 Board of Education accepts and approves the omnibus vote agenda, items A through E, as listed here. Any comments or questions on this item? We have a motion to approve.
Second.
Bordeaux, Hale,
Yes.
Mandela,
Yes.
Altman? Yes. Kessler, yes. Walker, Yaffe.
Yes. The next item is personnel related. Be it resolved, the Diamond Lake 76 Board of Education accepts and approves the personnel items as depicted on the agenda, including a first grade long-term sub and Diamond Lake learning associate hires. Comments or questions on this item? Do we have a motion to approve?
Moved.
Second.
Kessler, yes. Hale,
Yes.
Bordeaux, Altman. Yes. Mandela,
Yes.
Walker, Yaffe.
Yes. Next item up has to do with the workday at Fairhaven. Be resolved, the Diamond Lake School Board of Education approves the memorandum of understanding workday for Fairhaven Schools representative of education of Diamond Lake School District number 76, Lake County, Illinois, and the District 76 Teachers Association, AFT Association. Comments or questions on this item?
I just want to make a comment just to read this. So currently right now, our collective bargaining agreement says that the school day transportation scheduling, buses are like at 7:25. So teachers are required to be outside possibly morning as well as in the afternoon. So we asked them to adjust their schedule, to raise the contract by 5 minutes on both days. Just formalizing that process. So this is the reason behind this change.
Is this considered like an addendum to the current contract? Is it separate?
Yeah, it's a separate agreement reached, the way it was started, just a separate agreement reached for this 1 year to address this one specific situation. We're just formalizing it.
No comments or questions? No motion to approve?
Condell?
Yes.
Hale?
Yes.
Bordeaux? Altman?
Yes.
Casper, yes. Walker? Yaffe?
Yes. Next item has to do with the schedules. Be resolved that the School Board of Education approves the 2019, 2020, and 2020, 2021 school calendars and staff workday and student schedule as presented by the district leadership team. Comments and questions on this item?
Is this supposed to be a correction?
It's just,
Okay.
it's just, and I just wanted to approve, we talked about putting together a two-year calendar, this is helping us plan and prepare and accommodate the summer construction as well as moving for the reorganization of the district for next year. So, what our district leadership team as well as the professional advisory council created two one-year calendars. So the first one is for next school year, 2019, 2020. And I can kind of walk you through the changes, but we are hoping to start school next year after Labor Day, which is approximately 3 weeks later, which will give our construction partners an extra 2 weeks to work and get the work. It also give our moving team that we have to hire an extra week to move people. Closing our building, 80% of our staff right now is looking at people will be in the street or in the room or in the building to give them the extra time to move. So what we've done is just kind of push back our calendar. We have to have 174 days. So just some highlights. If you're looking at the 1920 calendar is the teacher institute days would be Tuesday, Wednesday, September 3rd and 4th. And then Thursday, September 5th would be the first day of school for students. We are providing a one-day holiday for Rosh Hashanah on September 30th and a one-day holiday for Yom Kippur on October 9th. Everything else pretty much stays the same. The one holiday that we are going to be doing it's not really a work position, but we're going to be putting in for a waiver to waive our holiday for October 14th, which is Wednesday, so we'll be having school that day. And then we will remember pretty much how it's the same schedule to conferences for the week for Thanksgiving break. Same thing for January, solid their break, Martin Luther King Day as a non-attendance day. And then in February, we are not having President's, we're not going to be recognizing President's Day on February 17th to add another day onto our calendar. So those are the two holidays, Columbus Day and President's Day, that we in favor for the state having school on those days. And then March is pretty much the same with spring break. We have Good Friday on April 9th. Sorry, on April 10th, on April 10th and April 9th. Just two morning conferences on April 8th. So of course, this week's schedule will follow. The students will be in school on Wednesday, April 8th, not on Thursday. And then May is pretty much the same, but it's just days that the last day of school pending no versus or snow days will be Thursday, July 25th. Excuse me.
Of years, we've done a good job of aligning with both high schools and Sonoma. And it looks like one of these 2 years, in case the other one is going to be more special because of our.
This one, right? So next year. Be aligned with the start and end. You know, our holiday schedule, conferences, maybe some shared student days will be the same, but not the start and end.
And student grades are still aligned with
Accounting.
other.
Vacations are holidays are just not start and end of school. But we'll do, the nice part about this is we're getting this out early, so we can keep families, you know, at the happy with them. We're cruising, so we'll put out that to the calendar and kind of explain the reasons why, you know, why we're doing this and some of the changes.
So the teaching leadership has agreed as well. Is there a formal process on your side?
No, I mean, we've met with them twice as a professional advisory council, so, you know, they definitely, we put in all of our dates, you know, when they normally take off, you know, holidays, like I said, Columbus Day, President's Day. So, you know, it was going the way that we had it, until like Tuesday the 16th, because we were also taking on states for Jewish holidays. They were okay to say, okay, like for example, one of them was on Sunday night, the 29th, so it's nice that we don't have to take 2 days off of Rosh Hashanah. Like, so it starts on the weekend, so that part of it's nice. And then Wednesday, or Tuesday, it also starts the evening. So we have teachers that run the team that celebrate those holidays, so they're okay with just allocating 1 day to that. And they kind of came up with it. They created, so these are the options of these holidays that they were sure, so they were willing to do, like, 4 that they could do is Veterans Day, Columbus Day, Martin Luther King Day, and President's Day. So they compromised with me up to, yeah, a little bit earlier, on the 11th. So is everybody excited about this? Not really, but, so, you know, the question that you're asking, but teachers definitely understand that they want the extra time to move in, to get into their classrooms and set up, so they're willing to make the sacrifice to do that.
You've been able for us to
November 13th, 14th. So just the way the schedule is, I usually have 2 weeks between meetings, so we got this too, you know, it's what we met. So our next meeting's not until 11 months, so that's why it's gonna take some time.
I just think it's great that you were able to sit down and focus on this long enough to come up with a plan that will help facilitate so many other people.
Well, and this is a lot of construction teams are gonna do, like their start time times, and then we can kind of look backwards from there, when we're gonna hire movers to work boxes. And if you wanna take a quick look at the 2021 schedule, it's pretty much what we've always done. So it's gonna be June 11th, unfortunately, until, you know, Friday, August 14th. So they will have, you know, 2.5 weeks less of summer. And they did 3 weeks less of summer than they did the previous year. So that's just the hardest part. And then we'll adjust the summer school schedules accordingly. But that, like you're saying, this follows what we've normally done with the start of 10th and high schools.
We plan to continuously inform people of it, because I'm sure we just send that one.
A monthly update would be nice, like, yeah, to your calendar, we're gonna start in September this year, and just kind of continue to share that.
Even or something like
Sorry.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, good.
And then, second, thing is this, draft ordinance calendar. It's the same for both years, but we're just gonna put it on there, and we're hoping this is the way it goes. But we have adjusted according to the transportation schedule, so we will be increasing pre-K, kindergarten, first grade. Their instructional day will be increased by 15 minutes. The staff work day will stay the same. Second grade will use 10 minutes of instructional time just because we'll be combining their grades over in Diamond Lake. And then West Oak, fifth grade will use 5 minutes, but we're still keeping them at 6 hours and 55 minutes, and West Oak's stay at 7 hours. So this is just, I'd like to get this out too as soon as possible, so parents have this information of what student schedules can look like.
We're able to do this without certainty around the bus changes.
Well, this is pretty much what we're going to tell them right now. And so Eric's working right now with revising and updating bid, so this is what works right now. So if we can adjust it, we will. But right now, at least we know, because a big question for our staff was, what's our schedule going to be? Are we going to keep Fairhaven schedule? We keep Diamond Lake schedule, so that is Westo going to change? So we decided to just say we're going to follow as similarly or as closely as we can to what we're currently doing and increasing the instruction day. Some of the questions were, what's Fairhaven going to do when they go to Diamond Lake? Are they going to follow Diamond Lake schedule work? We decided collectively that it's better to increase their day rather than decrease their day. So for the majority of the students. So we wanted to get this information out to, and we will definitely put on a disclaimer that says pending final bus routes and transportation schedules.
Formalize that you want to call the list of intermediate and circle.
And we've talked about it, but yeah, that's kind of, we invested in that. Still keep this.
So it's set in stone.
It's set in stone.
Okay. Anything else? A lot of good planning that's gone into this. Wonderful. Okay. So that concludes our business agenda items. Next up is board discussion.
Well, I was going to put this with others, but I'll just share with you right in front of you is last board meeting, we talked about our asset designations and that our ratings will be coming out in October. The actual first deadline, so we'll be getting those yesterday. In front of you, I received notification that our preliminary data was available. So initially, we did get a letter that Westo was going to be rated as a tier 2, which is the underperforming school. And much to the pleasant surprise that all three of our schools, so this was the district summary of what the personal thing, that all three of our schools came back as commendable. And we don't have any specific data yet, so it's on the process of finalizing what it's going to look like actual report, but I believe this will be public tomorrow. So I wanted you to have this information, and then right next to it is what each of the status, the definition of each of the status are.
What was that last thing you said?
What do they have?
This front page does not.
Front page, where you can see we have 3 commendable schools, and commendable is the second category. So it just defines what commendable means.
It's on the second page. I don't know how these are calculated.
So it's data that we put into our student information software. And
Yeah, like the district is at 83 capacity expectation.
so if you remember from last time when we got our funding levels, right now we have $11 million in resources, and they think that we should have 14 million. That's usually what our budget is. So they're saying we're at 83%. So the state is giving us money to help us reach that level. So the additional, whatever it was, I can't remember. Mr. Rogers can help me, whatever that dollar amount was, in grants, and that's the money that was allocated in the last presentation. It was the funding levels that each of the schools that aren't at 100% adequacy levels are getting additional funding.
So this funding expectation is something, the result of some formula based on some amount per child and other factors.
How much money we have in our reserve and what our actual operating costs are.
And then absentees and probably standard metric.
This is all data that we put in about our students.
And its retention is of teachers. Retain. Who puts the data? Did you send them this data?
Is it for truancy?
Absenteeism and retention, but the data is put in from
Yeah, it's part of the data that we use for SIS, the Student Information System, and then EIS, the Employee Information System. Those two
The
state.
retention is the question is that teachers, staff, administrators.
Teaching staff.
Anyway, it's just a question.
Yes, but I don't want to avoid that.
I think it would almost have to be because you've got a mobility rate of 8%. Yeah, which is actually lower than I would expect.
It'll just be a lot more detail, so this is really nice. As it's waiting for the data to come back, saying that most of the requirements that we have to put together an action plan, so. We still have work to do, it doesn't mean that we're resting on this, but definitely it's positive news.
Reminder that the conference, is that on here? The conference is coming up in November. I plan on going as well as presenting on Saturday. Let Daisy know if you want to go. And also a reminder that we are going to want to advocate for people who pursue running the board if they have interest. 5 minutes to run. Anything else you guys want to discuss under board discussion? Okay, got another. All right, freedom of information request. Comments, questions on this one?
I'm always just curious as to do the line. This was
We treated it as a FOIA, it really wasn't what we treated it as a FOIA, so.
Notices of communications.
I think we just put on there, that we did confirm with our Press Plus policy representative that he will be here prior to our board meeting, 5 to 7, with their first session.
So our goal here was to have the whole board invited to that meeting, to see if we could come, right? So this is your notice to us.
And I
Keeping it on our calendar.
I believe we also sent it as a calendar invite.
Yeah, I just on that today. Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it may. All right, next up is the safety inspection report.
It's more of our, safety report, a copy that is there, and it's great. It's really, really great.
It's the lowest amount we've had in the last few years, so it's just a couple cleanup items that we have to address. Pardon me? Sorry, can you repeat that?
That's what I said.
Oh, we can go back this all night. No, I said this is the lowest amount of marks that we've received in the last couple of years. It's really just a couple cleanup items that we have to have for signage and moving some desks from some unsafe areas, if you will. But a couple of workplaces. Yeah, it was overall very favorable. We have 45 days to respond to how we're going to correct it, but otherwise it's very good.
Have they upped their requirements given security concerns, or is it kind of standard?
You know, it's more of an opinion from the security standpoint. They'll offer advice on what they think you should have, but they were really impressed with the upgrades that we had. We went over the window security and the camera systems. So, you know, overall, they're really happy. He's been coming to our district for several years. He's been here for at least the last 10, but every time he walks through, he's like, I cannot believe where you guys are at right now, because he's been digging us for stuff for years. And, you know, he's been happy.
That's wonderful. This is the type of thing you could take for granted, but Celebration moment. Press the long time inspector. All right. Any other comments on that one? At this time, we open the, oh, I'm sorry, I had, I guess you guys all got this. So we had an invitation, you probably have others as well, but invitation to our law firm's, yes, reception at the conference. All right, others. John. Oh, did I miss that? I checked it off twice. Let's do it. At this time, we open the floor for any comments from the public. Any other topics? All right, others. John.
Last meeting, we acted of resolutions that we were going to be coming in front of the IASB next month. And there's one, it's really a combination of two of them. Newspaper. A resolution encourage the state to allow school districts to allow teachers and staff to carry firearms. Something to that effect. And rationale has to do with some of the schools downstate that they're too far from law enforcement for full-time guards or full-time officers. Anyway, that's becoming a big hot topic. District 203 just the other day had a meeting, it was heavily attended. Against this resolution. Wanted to bring it up. I know that I personally would be against the resolution. Again, I'm 1-7, but don't feel I don't feel it's two things. One is it right to ask firearms, protect the students. And the second is, do we really want the school boards to pushing for public policy changes? And that really seems to be something that what the school boards should do. So I wanted to bring it up. It is going to come for a vote. Every school board gets a vote. I don't know if you or if anybody from our board is attending that resolution. They vote on the resolution.
It's during our conference.
Right.
I thought that there were delegates who were the voters, that you're saying each school board would be.
I believe that each school board is allowed to have.
Not, the time that I did not send in the form of a voting delegate, but that sounds like something we should research. I don't even know if there's still a window open between now and the conference to do whatever we would have to do. But thank you for asking.
I don't know what's involved.
You can find out for you.
We have a vote though. We would need to discuss it at our next November board meeting to determine if we have a vote.
Maybe before. Right.
At least understand how the voting works and who's going to vote.
So we can even put it, I'll even put it in, so that way we have time to process it and set the schedules of when we want to attend. Send a rep, or send our vote down. I was under the understanding that there are certain elements, I don't know, what gets delegate, we have this area. So they learned that, because they were recognized at the dinner last week.
Okay, thank you for bringing that up. Get more educated on the process. Any others?
In front of you are VIP tickets from Little Lake High School. So they were sent as passes for you to attend any events, sporting events, or school events. So.
Others? All right, at this time, the board will return to executive session, the appointment. For the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, charge, or dismissal of specific employees in the district or legal counsel of the district, including hearing testimony on violations of employee or against all counsel of the district, to determine its ability. Maybe have a motion to go into executive session.
Hale.
Yes.
Hassler, yes. Bordeaux. Altman. Yes. Capella.
Yes.
Walker. Gaffney.